Why don't people take you seriously, no matter how hard you try? It's not your looks, your job title, or where you came from, it's what you say. Even more dangerous, it's what you can't stop yourself from saying that slowly destroys your presence. Let's be honest. How many times have you walked away from a conversation, silently regretting, why did I say that? Why couldn't I just stay quiet? One single sentence, one careless moment can echo in your mind for days. It can crush your confidence, break trust, or worse, give away your power to someone who didn't deserve it. Let this be clear. Words are not harmless. They are weapons. And your tongue, it's the sharpest blade in your body. Welcome to Stoicism, Philosophy Daily. Today, we uncover a silent war, one that rages every day between your mouth and your mind. Stoic masters like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus warned, if you can't control your words, you can't control your destiny. But here's the darker truth in the world of dark psychology. Silence isn't just power, it's control. When you talk too much, you become easy to read and easy to manipulate. But when you master the pause, when you choose to say less, you become unreadable, unshakable, untouchable. So if you've ever been betrayed by your own words or felt misunderstood, exposed, or underestimated, this is your wake-up call. Comment below, strength is silence, and let that be your new code, your new mantra. Because today, we don't just talk about mental strength, we build it one word at a time. 1. Speak less. Think more. The ancient Stoics lived by a simple yet powerful rule: speak less, think more. Not because they were timid, not because they lacked opinions, but because they understood what most people today have forgotten. Words are irreversible. Once spoken, they belong to the world. They can be twisted, judged, misunderstood, or even weaponized against you. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, ruled an empire with this in mind. He once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In an era full of war, betrayal, and political schemes, he discovered that silence could be his strongest shield. Because when you say less, you listen more. As you begin to speak less, you naturally start listening more. And in that stillness, you begin to see everything. You no longer just hear people. You observe patterns, motives, vulnerabilities. And most importantly, you start to identify your own emotional triggers, the things that make you react instead of respond. This is where true mental strength begins. Not by bottling up emotions, but by learning to filter what deserves your energy and what doesn't even deserve your attention. Because when you speak impulsively, you're no longer in control. Your emotions are. But when you pause, reflect, and choose your words like a surgeon with a scalpel, you shift the power instantly. And now, enter the world of dark psychology. In this world, people expect noise. They expect you to defend, explain, overshare. But when you stay calm, silent, even when provoked, you scare them because they can't read you. And people fear what they cannot predict. So, let me ask, are your words building strength or exposing your weakness? If this is resonating deeply with you, comment below. Strength is silence. Write it, claim it, let it become your code. Because sometimes, silence speaks louder than any noise ever could. 2. Silence is psychological control. Let's go deeper. What if I told you that silence isn't just self-control? It's psychological warfare. In dark psychology, there's a chilling truth. The less you speak, the more others reveal. People are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill it. They overshare. They confess. They expose their fears and insecurities while you sit calm and unreadable. That's real power. Because when you don't speak, people start projecting. They try to guess what you're thinking. They wonder if they said something wrong. They assume you're smarter, colder, more dominant. They feel off balance while you haven't said a word. This is how true leaders lead without raising their voice. How interrogators extract truth by sitting still. And how you become mentally untouchable. Here's the secret: the loud never learn. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your value. You don't need to correct every lie. Your silence alone makes people rethink their actions. And if you're wondering, won't people misunderstand me if I stay silent? Maybe. Let them. They may misunderstand you, but you're not here to be understood. You're here to be respected, because the goal is not to be understood by everyone. The goal is to be respected by the ones who truly matter. So, the next time someone expects you to explain yourself, justify your actions, or react emotionally, don't. Let your silence echo louder than their noise. And if this truth is settling deep into your bones right now, comment, strength is silence. Let others talk themselves into weakness. You're here to master restraint and command the room with presence alone. 3. Emotional triggers. Why you talk too much, and who's really controlling you? Let's get brutally honest. You don't lose control of your mouth because you're not smart. You lose control because you're too emotional. You feel disrespected, so you defend. You feel ignored, so you over-explain. You feel anxious, so you fill the silence with words. That's the trap. Every time you react emotionally, someone else is in control. Not with ropes, not with force, but with your own emotions. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They trained themselves to pause before they spoke, because they knew one powerful truth: impulse is weakness, awareness is strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Translation: it's not what someone said, it's what you felt about what they said. And in that space between the event and your reaction lies your freedom. Manipulators know this. Marketers, narcissists, emotional manipulators, they all know the formula. Trigger your feelings and they control your voice. They want you to talk fast, to explain too much, to act before you think. Why? Because the more you talk, the more control you give away. So here's your Stoic practice. The next time you feel the urge to speak, don't. Breathe. Observe the trigger like a scientist. Ask yourself, who gains power if I open my mouth right now? That one pause, that 1 second, can change how the world sees you. If you're ready to stop being a puppet of emotion, comment, strength is silence. Say it like a declaration, because this is where mental mastery truly begins. You've seen how emotional words reveal weakness, but true strength, it's when your silence speaks louder than anyone's noise. Think of the strongest person you know. Now ask yourself, how do they speak? Chances are, they don't unless it's necessary, unless their words serve a purpose. Because here's a truth no one talks about. Mental weakness is loud. Mental strength is calm. Weakness needs to explain, to defend, to impress, to prove. But true strength simply is, it doesn't chase validation. It commands respect through stillness. Look at the animal kingdom. The loudest in the jungle, the howler monkey, but the deadliest, the silent panther. In life, most people are howlers, talking too much, too often, revealing everything. They think their words make them look powerful. But real power never announces itself. Power observes, power waits, and then it speaks with precision. Stoic thinkers like Zeno and Epictetus believed speech should serve reason, not impulse. They didn't speak just to be heard. They spoke to build character inside and out. But today, we live in a world that rewards noise. Social media, arguments, outrage. You're praised for having opinions, even if they're shallow. But you're not here to be average. You're here to develop something few people ever master: self-command. Because true strength isn't silence out of fear. It's silence out of choice. And when you choose your words like a swordsman chooses his strike, you don't need many. Just one delivered with precision can shift an entire room. So let me ask you, are your words proving your strength or hiding your fear? If you're ready to speak from power, not pain, comment below, strength is silence. Lock it in right now, because you're not just learning how to speak less, you're learning how to become more. 5. The art of tactical silence. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius, there's silence, and then there's tactical silence. Tactical silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of strategy. It's when you sit in a room full of chaos and say absolutely nothing. because you already understand the game being played. Marcus Aurelius didn't rule Rome with armies alone. He ruled it with discipline. Marcus Aurelius ruled with discipline, and when he spoke, his words carried the weight of empires. That's tactical silence, the skill of knowing not just when to speak, but even more importantly when not to. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to correct every lie. You don't need to flinch every time someone tests you, because the moment you stay silent when they expect a reaction, you flip the power dynamic. They lean in, they question themselves, they wonder what you're thinking, while you sit there, in complete control. In dark psychology, this is known as silent tension. The longer you remain quiet, the more they unravel. They can't handle the mystery, so they start to fill the silence with more words, more mistakes, more vulnerability. That's how skilled negotiators win. That's how masters of presence dominate a room. They don't rush to fill silence, they own it. So next time someone tries to bait you, pause. Look them in the eye. Say nothing. Let the silence speak louder than any words ever could. If this section resonated with something deep in your gut, comment, "Strength is silence." Because silence, when chosen, becomes the sharpest weapon in your arsenal. 6. Verbal traps. How to stop others from using your words against you. Let's talk about traps. Not the ones you see, but the ones you walk into with your mouth. Every time you speak without awareness, you're handing someone a tool. A tool they can use to twist your words, question your intent, expose your insecurities. And trust me, they will, because the world isn't filled with listeners, it's filled with opportunists. Dark psychology teaches us this. In a manipulative conversation, the most dangerous thing you can do is try to explain yourself. Why? Because the more you explain, the more you reveal. And the more you reveal, the easier you are to control. They bait you with false accusations. They trap you with trick questions. They say things like, "Why are you being so defensive? Just be honest with me." And in that moment, most people panic. They over-explain, they stutter. They talk just to escape discomfort. That's the trap. But Stoic wisdom teaches something else entirely. Respond with presence, not panic. Silence, when chosen, is never weakness. You just learned how to escape verbal traps. But the deeper lesson is this: you don't stay silent because you're weak, you stay silent because you refuse to hand over the ammo. Silence doesn't mean surrender. It means you're not giving the other person anything they can use against you. When provoked, instead of defending, observe. Instead of reacting, breathe. Instead of speaking just to feel better, stand your ground. You don't owe anyone an immediate answer, especially those trying to pull you off center. So here's your rule: if a question feels like bait, stay silent. Let them reveal their true agenda. Because sometimes the strongest answer is no answer at all. If you've ever fallen into a verbal trap and felt the sting of regret, comment, "Strength is silence." Let that be your armor from now on. You're not here to react, you're here to rise. 7. The power of observation over opinion. Most people believe their opinion is a gift. They enter conversations ready to deliver it. They interrupt, argue, preach, believing that being heard means being important. But Stoicism teaches something more powerful. The wise man observes more than he speaks. Why? Because opinions are easy. Observation takes discipline. When you lead with opinion, you shut down understanding. When you lead with observation, you gather intel. You read body language. You notice tone shifts. You listen beneath the surface where the real truth hides. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal to prove he was right. He journaled to study his thoughts. He wrote, "You always have the option of having no opinion. There is never a need to get worked up or to trouble your soul." Think about that. You don't have to react. You don't have to comment. You don't have to weigh in on every argument, headline, or heated exchange. You have another option: to watch, to wait, to understand. Because the more you observe, the more powerful you become. In business, in relationships, in conflict, observation helps you notice patterns others miss. You detect lies, manipulation, fear, and insecurity without saying a word. While others talk themselves into corners, you're 3 steps ahead, because you stayed silent long enough to see the full board. This is where dark psychology and Stoicism meet. The less you rush to judge, the more others reveal. And the more data you collect, the more strategic you become. When you choose observation over reaction, you don't just collect information, you begin to take control. So next time you're pulled into a heated moment, choose observation. Watch the room. Watch their posture. Watch their tone. And most importantly, watch yourself. Then, when you finally speak, your words will hit like thunder, because they'll come from clarity, not emotion. Lock it in now. Comment, strength is silence, because silence isn't just quiet, it's active awareness. It's how legends think. 8. The challenge: build your mental fortress 1 word at a time. You've listened. You've reflected. Now it's time to act. Because this video isn't just content, it's a mirror. It's a choice. It's a moment of truth. So here's my challenge to you. 1 most people will never complete, but those who do, they change forever. For the next 24 hours, only speak when it's necessary. Not when it feels good. Not when you're triggered. Only when it serves a clear purpose. Before every word, ask, am I speaking to add value or just to escape discomfort? Because most people speak to run from silence. They blurt out opinions just to feel alive. They seek validation by making noise. But you'll do the opposite. You'll sit in the silence. You'll become dangerously still. And here's the truth. That silence, it will feel uncomfortable at first. You'll want to defend yourself, to prove your point, to explain every feeling. But each time you resist that urge, you lay a brick in your mental fortress. You reinforce your self-mastery. Because silence isn't weakness, it's a language, it's a boundary, it's a throne. And those who sit on that throne don't scream for respect. They receive it effortlessly. So here's what I want from you right now. No delay. No hesitation. Comment, strength is silence, not as a slogan, as a commitment. Say it like a contract with yourself. Let the world know you're not here to impress, you're here to evolve. And if you're truly serious, write it where you'll see it every single day. On your phone screen, on your mirror, in your journal. Strength is silence. This isn't a phase. This is who you're becoming. If you've written strength is silence as a commitment to yourself, then you've stepped onto a path that few have the courage to finish. Because the weak will scroll past this, they'll move on. But the strong, they'll stay. They'll rise. 9. Silence is not the end, it's the beginning. You're still here. And that tells me more than 1,000 words ever could. Because the ones who stay until the end aren't just seeking a burst of inspiration. They want transformation. They want growth. They want to rise above the noise and become what most never will: unshakable. We've talked about control, silence, discipline. We've explored how words can either be a cage or a sword. How silence can either shield you or sharpen you. And now, at this final moment, here's the truth that matters most. Silence is not the absence of strength. It is the origin of it. Every time you hold your tongue when the world tries to provoke you, every time you resist the urge to react emotionally, every time you speak with purpose instead of panic, you are building something sacred inside of you. A center, a fortress, a fire that doesn't roar, but never goes out. You're not becoming colder. You're becoming clearer. You're not losing your voice. You're learning how to use it with precision. And that is what Stoic Spark is all about. This channel isn't just here to entertain you. It's here to train you, to give you tools, truths, and ancient wisdom that help you reclaim your life, one calm, calculated moment at a time. If you felt something shift inside you today, don't let it fade. Right now, comment, strength is silence. One last time. Not for me, for you. Write it as a contract, a reminder, a seed that will grow every time life tries to pull you back into old habits. And if you haven't already, subscribe, turn on notifications, join this mission, because every week, Stoic Spark brings you one step closer to becoming the most dangerous kind of person there is, the one who is in complete control. Before you go, Drop one sentence in the comments, something your future self will return to in 1 year. They'll thank you for planting it today. Remember, the world is loud, but power whispers. I used to be someone who talked too much, just to fill the silence, just to avoid feeling like I was being left behind. I spoke to be accepted, to be understood, to avoid being misunderstood. But the more I spoke, the more I felt like I was losing control. Then one day, I came across this sentence: silence isn't weakness, silence is power when chosen. And it hit me. I don't need to win every argument. I don't need to say everything to prove myself. What I truly need is clarity, calm, and awareness. Because you know what? Silence, when used at the right moment, is how you protect your inner peace. And it is from that place of peace that the strongest decisions are made. If you've stayed with me all the way to the end, I want to thank you deeply and respectfully. Because you didn't just watch a video, you're choosing a way of life. A life that is strong in silence. And one day, when you feel like giving up, when you're angry, or when you want to shout just to be heard, remember this: power doesn't belong to the loudest voice. It belongs to the one who knows when to stay silent. So before you go, leave one sentence in the comments, just one sentence, but filled with the intention you want to send to your future self. And as always, remember, the world is loud, but true power always whispers.